Hi! Let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm starting this channel because I've always liked to do art and creative stuff, and I've always liked to share those things I do. So that's why I'm here to share my creative side with you. Also, I'm not English or American or anything like it, so I know my English isn't perfect, but I'll do my best. So today I'm going to make a notebook. It goes from binding all the pages to making the cover to everything, and I'll show the process to you so you can do it if you want. The result will be a very cute and easy making notebook. The first thing to do is to fold all the paper sheets. You can use whatever paper size and type you want. I just use this one because it's the only one I have. I used 54 paper sheets in order to have a notebook with 108 in the end. You can also use a spatula to help with all the folding process. So now I have all my pages folded. I left them pressed overnight under really heavy books. And now comes the binding part. First, we have to divide all the sheets in signatures, that are basically groups of sheets that we're going to bind together. I made 9 signatures with 6 pages each. And there you go! Now we're going to punch the holes where the needle and the thread are going to pass. For that, we draw straight lines in the sides of the paper, so we know where we have to pierce them. Now, of course, you can go the traditional way and pierce the holes individually in each signature, which is better actually, but I decided to take a shortcut, so I used the box knife to saw all the signatures together at once. And now for the actual binding part. First of all, when I do these kind of books, I usually use a white thread because it goes more unnoticed with all the white pages. But for this demonstration, I'm going to use a black thread because it's easier for you to see on video. So, stick the thread in the needle and make a knot with the ends. When you're all set, grab the first signature and go through the first hole. When you come out of the second hole, pass the needle under the knot. This way the thread will be stuck. Then go through all the holes. When you reach the end, go back and fill in the uncovered gaps. If you run out of thread somewhere in the middle, that's okay. Just grab some new thread, tie a knot between the old and the new thread, and trim the edges, and you're good to go. When you get to this point, make a knot and pass through the first hole again. It's important for the thread to come out in the last hole. Now grab the second signature and go through the first hole, just like before. But this time, when you come out of the second hole, you're going to stack the two signatures together by passing the thread under the threads on the first signature. Then you go back to that same hole. Make this to the remaining holes until you reach the end. When you're done with the last one, instead of passing the needle back in it, you pass it through the first hole in the third signature. Then the process is pretty much the same. Come out of the second hole, pass the needle between the first and the second signatures, in and out, and then back into the hole. When you start binding the fourth signature, you pass the needle between the second and the third signatures, and so on and on. Do this for all the signatures you have. Once you've bound all the signatures together, make a knot in the end to finish the binding process. And there you have it, a bound book. This is what your book should look like after the binding. Then I used some white glue to strengthen the book spine. First, I clamped all the pages using protections on the side, then I realized that they weren't working, they were being more of a problem than a solution, so I just removed them. Anyway, the only thing to do here is apply a generous layer of white glue and then leave it to dry. Once it was dry, I glued a piece of cloth in the book spine and then put another layer of white glue on top of it. Before we move on, I just wanted to leave a note here. You don't have to make a book with just white pages, you can also print pages with lines and squares like I did. In fact, you can put whatever you want, it's your book. So now comes my favorite part, and it's my favorite because it involves painting. So far I've made 2 notebooks, the printed pages, the white pages. And this also gives me the opportunity to make 2 different covers. Now I think I'm going with a sea-themed design. For the first cover I'll use watercolors, and for the second one I'll use just acrylic paints. I think for this part it's better to just make this huge time-lapse, so I leave you to watch it with music and just enjoy.